Alright, how's it, guys? This is just a quick topic that I've been thinking about, and actually this past Sunday it really hit home for me, and that is, how do we become better adventure riders? Now, I know, before I get ahead of myself, the term adventure riding is super broad. It's broken up into many subcategories, but the type of adventure riding that I really like doing is primarily based on moto camping through the national forests, and most of the riding through the national forests is on Forest Service roads. Very limited in how technical we can get, because a lot of the single track trails that go through the national forests are mostly based just for hikers and mountain bikers, non-motorized vehicles. And anyway, so as I'm pretty new to this category and wanting to improve my skills and be a little bit more proficient on off-road, a scenario came up this past Sunday with my good buddy Andy that really got me thinking about it. And that was, a couple of weeks ago, he and I were on a ride, and he actually had a very low speed tip over. He wasn't injured or anything, but he a bunch of scratches and that kind of stuff to his bike. But more than anything, it shook his confidence a little bit. Fast forward to this past Sunday when him and I were planning a ride, and I was like, hey, let's go to Whisenhunt. Whisenhunt is about an hour's north from Atlanta. I live in Georgia, so about an hour's north of Atlanta, and it's a off-highway vehicle trail system maintained by the Forest Service. So it's only $5 for a day pass. All off-highway vehicles are welcome, so mostly ATVs and trail bikes and dirt bikes, but a great opportunity for us on our dual sports to go there and kind of practice. And in one regard, I knew this would be a great opportunity for Andy to build up his confidence again after his little spill, and then also for me, how I've been thinking about improving my off-road skills based for adventure riding. And the reason why I say that is, yes, most of my adventure riding is Forest Service roads and the twisties through the mountains, but there's only so much you can do, or so much skill you can develop on a Forest Service road. And the way to get better is obviously to be in much more challenging terrain. And that's why when we're at this OHV park at Whisenhunt, it really hit home to me on how this is a great resource in building up those adventure riding skills. And the great thing about the layout is that it starts off with a real wide two-way, enough to for ATVs and bikes to pass each other, and then from there you can actually start to choose your difficulty. So you can step it up a little bit and go into a more narrow two-way situation, and then once you get used to that, you can then step it up further and go into some tight single track and in between the trees and all that kind of thing. So the real interesting thing that happened was, we get there, we pull into the parking lot, all the guys are offloading their ATVs and their trail bikes, their off-road based bikes. And so it's kind of cool to check everybody setting up. But as you come out of that offloading area, the first thing you do is you drop into obviously the main two-way trail. And it's amazing how that first sensation of, once you've gone from, you're used to the traction of your tires on asphalt, and then as your tires touch dirt, that uneasy feeling you get. It doesn't matter how often you ride, the minute you get onto dirt, your body gets that kind of uneasy feeling, of like, oh, there's no traction, I'm slipping and sliding. And it takes a while for you to get used to that quote unquote lack of traction. And Whisenhunt in total is like 11 miles, and then, like I said, it has trails shooting off. And so what happened was, obviously I took Andy on the main section, the easiest section, and we stop and we take our helmets off, turn off our bikes, and we start talking about it. And I said to him, I was like, hey, isn't it kind of weird how we just did the easiest section there is in these trails, and I almost feel the most uneasy, like a most, quote unquote, the term squid. I always feel such a squid on this first section while I'm waiting for my body to get used to that sensation of lack of traction. And then I said, and he felt the same way. And I said, dude, it's kind of crazy. And then the next thing what we're going to do is I'm going to take you on a more technical two-way, still two-way, but tighter, more turns, more climbs, more inclines, declines, that kind of thing. But I said, you're going to feel way more confident already just on this section than you did on this easy first section, just because your body's starting to relax and kind of accommodate itself to what's going on in the surroundings. And so we did that, and that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? We had a great ride. He actually had another low speed spill in there, but this time it didn't affect his confidence nearly as badly. Like, you know what I mean? He just picked his bike up and we kept on going. And then the third section I took him was into the tight sections with a steep uphill, direction changes, and then you crest to the top and you go through a tight tree section where you got to really low speed work on your balance and everything, and to which he got through fine. When we got to the end, he did say, man, I'm tired, you know what I mean? And I remember that, this particular time that we went was my third time being there. So when I downloaded the information, when I was thinking about it, my ride, I was much more used to it. My confidence had gained a lot, and so I wasn't fatigued at all. I could have gone quite a bit more. But this being his first time there, and the type of riding that him and I have done is, when he's been with me, has primarily been Forest Service. So he had built up a lot of confidence on Forest Service, but this was the first time he had been in some technical terrain that tested him a little bit. And that's what I was thinking about. I was like, Andy's one of the guys that I introduced to the adventure riding that I like to do. At the beginning of the year, he ended up getting his own bike, and that's what, the main riding we've been doing. And then, like you said, him having that little spill and me wanting to help him build his confidence back up, better his skill, and at the same time better mine. So anyway, I know this is kind of a little bit in a roundabout way discussion, but guys, if you're wanting to improve your adventure riding skills and you have off-highway vehicle parks, whether they be private land that allows trail riding, or these public lands where, like I said, this one is only $5 for a day pass, and the experience that I'm getting out of it is really, really helping. So that's kind of my tip to throw out there for anybody that's, like does a lot of Forest Service and whatever, and is just looking for that next step up to kind of improve their off-road riding skills if they're kind of new to adventure riding like I am. And it's been a great resource. So any other tips, you guys, things that you like to do to improve your overall riding skills off-road with these bigger bikes, let me know and throw it down in the comments. But cheers, that was just kind of what I want to throw out there.